And I think I'm live. Is this thing on? Does the sound work? Does the audio work? What are the questions here? And obviously I'm doing this from home, so I'm assuming the audio works because my phone seems to be working. I'll wait for a couple people to give a thumbs up, and ooh, people showing up already. Sorry, no whiskey today. Got a headache. Long day, fun day, and hey, audio is up. See, the phone is magic. You just press a button and it works. Yay! Oh, Vince, were you watching me on my personal channel? Because I did test it on there. I've had a mystery about my live streams. So I try them on my own personal channel. And actually, let me take the phone and tilt it upwards, onwards and upwards. There we go. I think that's better. Anyways, I test these out on my personal channel and see if the stream flows or doesn't flow or just breaks. And at present, it just breaks. So, actually, here's what's interesting. Why doesn't it show live here? I see all your comments here, but I don't see anything here. So, let me open it up on I want to be able to chat with you on here. Why can't I see it? This is weird. Okay. There it is. Hey, there all you are. Okay, for reasons unknown, let me go back into my studio app. Bear with me. I'm not going anywhere, but I'm trying to figure out why the live streaming doesn't show up on here. My laptop is just out of scene here so I can type because it's really difficult to type on the screen that I'm streaming on. Well, it insists that I'm offline. That's fascinating. I guess I gotta go back where I was. All right. We will do that. I'm just gonna go back to my main page so I can type and chat. See, the problem is when you do it on the phone, I can see them, but you have to try to touch and type while it's watching me, and it's just, well, it's difficult to say the least. So, there we go. And so we don't get any double talk. There we go. Now I have no idea about the stream health. There's simply no way to know this. And can I do a chat pop out? Pop out chat. Look at that. That's beautiful. I can close that. And hello everyone. Can you see this? I think I put 3 L's in hello. Hey, cool. It looks like it's showing up. I see it showing up on the screen. Awesome. Okay. Carrying on and actually getting down the business here. Yep. Yes, sir. All right. It's weird because there's a delay from when I see it here from when I see it here, but whatever. I did a video, and just to follow up, I'm going to do some more follow-up videos on lots of things, but among my follow-ups are going to be the Google Chat system, the Slack competitor that they have. I finally got everyone onboarded with it at my company, and that's going rather well for us. So that's working quite well. Bring this a little closer. All right. That's working really well. So I'll be doing some more videos on it. There's actually a couple features we really like. I just got back from a Chamber of Commerce event with my son. I took him to the event with me. Did you learn anything about business?
No.
No? Did you play games?
Yeah.
All right. So the business event today, which I didn't take any pictures of, but I can't really share them here anyways. But the business event that I was at the client that I've covered, which is the big family fun center called Revved Up Fun. That's actually where the Chamber of Commerce event was. So I took my son with me and let him play video games. Why not? So that was a great time. And I've covered that in my videos about how we built the place, how we did the infrastructure of it. And it was kind of, I had to make sure I showed up for that business event particularly. It's kind of a showcasing thing because a lot of people are like, oh man, this place is really cool. And I'm like, hey, we did see all those TVs? That's us. So that's been a lot of stuff. And I got to do, me and Brett, because Brett was there too, and me and him, you've seen him in a couple of the business videos, we're going to be doing some more business talks. And I know it goes outside of some of the tech area, but it's another topic I like to cover, is some of the business aspects of things. And we have a really fun video Brett does business training, like corporate training, and for people in consulting. So among the things he's done is a thing of getting to yes, is I think one of his talks he's given, and a lot of it has to do with your sales objections. And I want to do a video on how to deal with sales objections, because there's tactful ways to deal with it. I'm not a hard, pushy salesperson if you didn't guess it by my demeanor, but I want to do some of those videos where I help coach people a little bit. And it's not like I'm trying to tell you to oversell it or overpromise. It's being honest, but it's just the way you convince people of why they should use your services. And I always mention about any of this when you're talking about using services, that you deliver on whatever promises you make. Never make a promise you can't deliver on. And yeah, this has been really irking me lately with a lot of IT companies we've been dealing with that have been terrible. This is why we're taking so much business from them. And it's just the flow of the market. It's not like I think everyone except me is terrible, and I never badmouth anyone, competition, otherwise. It's one of those things. Like, I have a very soft approach to sales, and my customers appreciate it. 'Cause I think sometimes if you have to sell someone too hard, they're not always the best client. There's people who are hard to sell, there's people who are just hard to convince. I think they're slightly different, because some people are just skeptics, they've been burned because there's been so many bad IT people out there. And so there's that aspect of it, and then there's the other aspect that me and Brett are going to talk about, just generally dealing with sales objections, because sometimes you don't convey the value of your services to them. And I bring that up because I was just fixing for a client a big, not big, medium sized, whatever, dental office that had lost all their files, their server crashed, they didn't have proper backup plans. My son's a hot sauce lover too. Hey, what do we got here, Marcus?
Texas Pete.
Got some Texas Pete, if you want to know what hot sauce he's having right now. This Texas Pete's good too. Yeah. So, hey, thank you very much, Zach Carter. Awesome. I hope he does too. Thank you very much. They said hi, Marcus, and do you know that you have a cool dad?
No.
Oh, he has no idea he's a cool dad. I thought having a bunch of people follow me on YouTube would be cool dad, but he said no.
You gotta have 50 million.
Pootie Pie doesn't have 50 million.
Hey, he does.
How many does he have?
He's got like 60.
Oh, apparently Pootie Pie has 60 million. So until I top the top YouTuber, I'm not cool dad.
No, you gotta top T-Series.
Oh, this T-Series got more than him now?
They're competing.
Yeah, I know they're competing. Anyways, I don't think there's that many people that care about what I talk about. I am realistic. I am boringly realistic. I'm not that crazy. You just gotta smash that like button and da 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 blah 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 blah. Buy that merch. Bunch of BS. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. So we had a small dental office, and one of the things I realized was the sales objection they had, and it wasn't our sales objection, but it was from the previous IT person. The sales objection they had was they just didn't understand, for only a few dollars more regarding their backups, they could have had full image backup. And we, because this was an IT takeover, which I'm going to be doing a video very soon on IT takeovers, because a few people have asked me about it, and it is a topic I want to cover. But the previous IT guy didn't sell them on why you need it. And you have to, it's not like the sales objection is because of money. The sales objection is because no one conveyed properly the value of why they needed something. And it was just sold as, hey, it's a backup for your server. It's a better backup for this much more per month. Well, okay, but if you don't really understand why you need it, if you can't articulate that, then the client's not going to buy that service. Now, a really easy sale for me was, after a server dies and he loses money by not being open for a day and a half, while we do all the recovery work because he didn't have full image backups of his system. Now he's very concerned, and there's no problem. Matter of fact, it's going to cost him $20 more per month. That's it. From what the previous IT company to what I'm charging for full server backups, $20. That's it. But it was because it wasn't presented to him in a different way. So I'm gonna do some covering of how you present the value proposition to make sure people understand how that costs. It's not that hard to do either. So it's a few dollars and make your life easy. Hey, thank you once again, Zach Carter. I love all the kind words here. Yeah, backups are key to keeping smoothly. Well, and the problem is people are trained for the word backup, and you got to sell it to them as business continuity. And you kind of talk in terms they understand because, well, he's a dentist. He's very educated. He's a smart dude. He doesn't know technology. That's not his niche. He knows teeth. And so you kind of sell it as a plan for them. So, all right, what we're going to do is here's the different plan options. This is the downtime you will experience if we follow this plan. Here's the downtime you'd experience here. So you remind them, what does downtime cost today? And you don't have to know the number. You just say, so think about, and this is how you sell it to the client, how much does it cost you a day to be down? Does it cost you $1,000 a day, $3,000 a day, what those numbers are? You don't have to know the number. You can just let them think about the number. And then you have the other side of it, which is referred to as brand reputation. What do people think of a dental service that can't operate for 2 days? That they don't have their crap together? Yeah, that is brand erosion, because you're going to lose those patients. Go, man, I called them. They couldn't take my call because their computers were down. I mean, my tooth hurts and their computers are down. So you can kind of see how you're building the case of why you need to have a backup service as opposed to, or why you have a need for a business continuity service, not just a backup. So it's just one of those things like that. Do you back up domain joined endpoints or just reflect folders to the server and then back up the server? Really depends on the plan. So for most clients, they're fine with just backing up the server because the endpoints are just kind of generic. For our engineering companies that do a bunch of CAD level engineering, they want the entire workstation imaged because downtime for an engineer, you got to figure this. So you take a high-end civil engineer, you're talking about a job that pays here in Michigan and maybe more in California, well, a whole lot more in California. You know, a job that probably pays $100,000 a year. So you take a guy making $120,000 a year and his workstation's down. You know what he's not doing? Working. So if he's not working, they lose that. So for them, spending a few dollars per month to back up an entire workstation and all of its configuration settings become very lucrative for the client because they have to pay this guy a salary even when he's not working. So you just gotta think about it from the business side, not from the technical side. That's how you sell business services. And I'm very much a technical geek, way more than I am a business geek. But these are just things if you want to have a successful company, these are some of the things you kind of have to do to build that success. And I have to build that success because I want to do my geek things. So yeah. Do only Mac printers work with Mac OS X? I have no idea. I'm not a Mac person. I can't speak intelligently to Mac printers. Most network printers do seem to support Mac. That would be my short answer. I don't have a long answer. And let me swipe my wife out of the way. Get rid of that. Wife's messaging me. I'll put her on mute if she makes too much noise on the phone. I'll say that here. She doesn't watch my live stream. She's at work right now, selling loans. You need a mortgage? Call Quicken Loans. Call my wife. I don't have her number handy. I can give it to you guys. If anyone wants my wife's phone number, because you want a mortgage, not just because you want to talk to her, I can actually give you that. Yeah, I did. I swiped left on her. Pro tip, not that I'm at any means qualified to give tips on things like wife. Don't swipe on her forehead and say I chose wrong. That's a great way to start a fight, though. It's really funny. So anyways, yes, you can actually talk to my wife. She sells loans for Quicken Loans. Undoubtedly, if you spend any time in any podcast, you've heard advertisements for Quicken Loans. Their advertising budget, something like $800 million a year. So they've got an advertisement every damn podcast out there. I've joked that because I know a few people that work for Quicken Loans and different divisions, so I'm like, I could probably get sponsorship from them if I wanted to. Maybe, I don't know. I'll just plug my wife working there because she makes money selling mortgages. So if you need a mortgage, call my wife. I still like the Ubiquiti G3 cameras. We still have a ton of them deployed. Matter of fact, the place I was at, Rev.Fun, they still have the camera system. The biggest hang up with the Ubiquiti systems, and I had another person email me for support about them, they have under-spec servers. And I know there's all this controversy, oh no, Unify wants people to use their servers, blah, blah, blah. But the problem is if you don't build a server that's capable of handling a bunch of 1080p video streams, you didn't build a server that's capable of handling the Unify software. So people build these under-spec servers, they connect a dozen cameras to them and go, oh, this Unify stuff is crap. And I'm like, well, yeah, you built a server not able to handle it. So it's probably one of the biggest problems I see with the Unify, and it's just a challenge. And this comes to any self-built system, pfSense. I'm actually working on some reviews for Untangle firewalls, and I got in a discussion about not buying their appliances, and people have problems with it. I think me and Willie were talking about this, and what happens is, he said some people build their own firewall and want it to do all the filtering features that Untangle supports, but then they don't spec it fast enough, so it doesn't perform right, and they blame the software. They're like, no, you have an under-spec server. This is just a headache that you kind of have to deal with. You have to spec it properly. And here's an example. We just built a server, bigger deployment for a school. The server was $12,000 to do the camera recording. That's how much a good server costs. So you're like, hey, cool, Unify's got this free software that runs all the cameras, and we're just gonna go ahead and I have this deal I found on this old used server I pulled out, and it's gonna run all these 1080 streams, and then you start having problems with it, and you're like, man, this Unify is crap. That cycle drives me nuts, and it's one of the reasons I think companies like Unify struggle with offering self-hosted applications that are high demand like that, because you have to spec it. The school system specifically is actually ExactVision, and Blue Iris is another one. We've built Blue Iris servers. Blue Iris, same problem. If you don't build a server fast enough to handle it, you aren't going to get the performance out of it. And it's not the software, it's not the cameras, it's you just didn't build a fast enough server. It's not rocket science, it's just one of those issues. So I really like the Unifies, but you do have to build a server. I'll quit ranting about that. I titled this Engineering Happiness because one of the things that came up, and this is two clients the same day, the dental office and a new client that we're bidding on right now, where I just gave them a proposal today. But both clients are the same thing. One, they loved us, the dental office and this new potential client. We answered the phone. They thought that was awesome, which is funny because that's one of those things that they said, as soon as you answer the phone, we like you already. These companies build in too much convoluted messes of like bureaucracy. Stuff. Yeah, I want to swear right now a lot. They build in layers, they build in deep ticketing systems that are complicated and convoluted for both the internal technicians, and the customer experience becomes very poor because of it. And I said, I built my company so I can provide quality service as opposed to building a company that just makes me dollars. There's ways I could tweak my company to make it make more money, but if I sacrificed either me being happy or my clients being happy, I don't have an interest in it. It becomes less intriguing to me. I know grindy ways, as I put them, to make money and just be like, hey, I know how to monetize the hell out of everything and maximize it, but I wouldn't be happy, and that matters. And my clients wouldn't be happy, and that is something I care about. So these are those fundamental things that are important when you're engineering a company. Is engineering it, to me, I engineer it leaning towards happiness as opposed to towards profitability. So their sacrifices are made. But on the other side of it, we have a company that I have a group of techs that are able to answer the phone. Everybody's paid well. We have a good time. We're not stressed out and burned out, because burnout in my industry is hard, especially when you have a very stressful job. And to make this and squeeze the most profit out of these companies, it becomes stressful. My friend makes more money working at one of the tech companies that he works for, but he also hates his job because the owner demands 90% of your time be billable. He pushes them for it. So you make more money, but you spend a lot of time chasing, and it's a weird fight. So I'm going to do a separate video and talk about some of that, because I don't mind. I'm actually going to break down something I think people have asked me, and I don't mind talking about it. I'm not going to give you every detail when it comes to the dollar amounts, but I'm going to cover all the ways my company makes money and how we monetize things. So I'm very open about that, because I thought it was, and I take YouTube comments very lightly, but sometimes I shrug. I have an offer code for what do you call that? Google Fi, and someone sent me a nasty gram. I can't believe you're making money off people. I'm like, I say it in the video. I have a offer code that helps us both out. You get some money off, I get a couple dollars. I'm not being dishonest. So then they drove me like, how much do you make for each referral thing? And I'm like, who cares? Why? Don't click it. If you don't want to click it, don't. I always say, if you don't want to click it, don't. If you don't want to click my Amazon link, don't. If you do, awesome. Thank you for clicking my Amazon link. It's an Amazon link. I make a very tiny commission off each sale on there. It's nice. It's not how I pay for all the bills. It is a nice spiff. Anyways, oh, let's see. And the hardware for Linux it costs more than Apple. Yeah. Making faces, Marcus?
You need the picture.
Beef jerky. Ooh.
It's hot.
Got a bag of pepper beef jerky.
It's not the pepper bun. It's the hot one.
Cheap SAS drives. You can really get a lot of SAS drives for cheap now. Have you ever used Unify sending SNT notifications hosted locally in DNS and pings out any words of advice? So I really don't have any issues with it, but for notices we use outbound at mailhop.org. We have our own SMTP thing. I have, that's how I get all my SMP notifications. So because I bought a separate third-party service, I don't have any issues with it. But if you're using some other SMT service, you could have problems with it, I guess. I don't know. The MailHop system works really well. We pay for it. It works great for that. See, I got over 100 of you here, so I kind of got a question that I've been waiting for a few of you to be here. Do you think AMD is going the right route with EPYC? I think EPYC's pretty awesome. I actually listened to a great interview with the product guy from AMD talking about EPYC in the data center market, and I think it's a really cool move they're doing. I like everything. On paper, sounds really good. We'll have to see how it works out in the real world, but the data centers, and this is one of the problems with Spectre and Meltdown, we have a monoculture in the data centers of Intel having 99% of the data center market share. Once you have any monoculture, you are at risk for flaws that affect the industry as a whole. Because if that company has a flaw, you have one company that built everything. So one flaw in that company means everything has a flaw in it, and that's what Spectre and Meltdown is. So, yeah. GLPI for contract. I don't know what that is. OCSNG, Zabbix, Solar VPN with proxy collectors and simple help. Zabbix is pretty cool. So I actually have a Zabbix server. I was thinking about doing some videos on Zabbix. I spent a lot of hours reading through the documentation. I have it running and I know how to use it, but boy, Zabbix is extensive. So I like it. It comes down to what is your time worth. You can do a lot with Zabbix, but I can still do more with less effort with SolarWinds. So we use SolarWinds still for our RMM platform and everything. And flat out, SolarWinds just works. It's not that expensive because we're charging for the service. So Zabbix is cool because you have no cost, but you have all the time that you put in to Zabbix, and it still won't it'll let you know when Windows stops working, but it doesn't handle some of those automation tasks very well, and it's just kind of like hobbling things together. SolarWinds, for the fees they charge, is a very solid, complete platform and worth as much as it is, and I spend a lot with them, but the other side of it is it works smooth, it works great, it's nice. So yeah, building it out something to compete with SolarWinds with Zabbix. I mean, mentally, I like it. I think about it going, hey, this is cool. It's open source. It'd be a neat tool to use. But then the reality of it is it would be so hard to implement and set up all the Zabbix proxies and the collectors at every client. It's a lot more work. It can be done, but it's not as easy to do as SolarWinds is, I won't lie. And that's what you're paying SolarWinds for, a bunch of really good engineers that put together a really solid stack to make that all come together and work. Hold on. Marcus, can you fill this up for me?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I bought you Revved Up Fun.
Okay.
Okay. So, okay, the GLPI is the open source ticketing inventory. Like I said, you can cobble together a whole bunch of these solutions to try to make it work, or you can just pay the small fee to SolarWinds, and it is a really solid. I mean, what we get with SolarWinds is antivirus, filtering, monitoring, device monitoring. The stack is, I mean, go to their website, check out SolarWinds RMM. The amount of things they offer is outstanding. It's hard to beat the value that they create with it. As much as I'm an open source advocate, I'm open source first, but when open source doesn't make sense, like trying to cobble together something that big with there. And ticketing is my least interesting part of any of that. Open source ticketing, I shrug my shoulders at it because that's not what gets work done. What gets work done is being able to see in a dashboard all my backups, make sure they work properly. Once again, that's integrated with SolarWinds. What gets my work done is going, hey, there's an update that didn't work. Hey, we found a virus with this monitoring tool, and I can zero in, nail it down, run a full scan, and I never logged into the client computer. Like my workflow for tracing, finding problems, and fixing them before the customer even knew there was a problem, SolarWinds handles that top to bottom, fast and efficient. I don't get that. I know I'm using Zabbix for my Linux servers, and I've got it on some Windows servers, and I'm like, it notifies me of problems that are very manual to fix if there's a problem. It's not doing the security monitoring. It's not doing the web filtering that I get with SolarWinds. Those things are just hugely important, or I can't get my job done. So if someone comes up with an open source system, I'm happy to throw as much money or more at an open source system if I can. But Zabbix isn't there, and I don't think my dollars would be enough to fund the team it would need to build it. We'd have to have enough people buy into it, and I don't know if that's really feasible right now. So that's my kind of thoughts on there. I mean, it's cool. Oh, yes. Yeah, ask him for a beer again. He'll be a minor in possession. That is things my son has said. He won't get me a beer. Chinese food versus Indian food. That's a great topic. Ooh, he's got chocolate.
Yes.
We got chocolate now. I am very much a Indian food person. I love both though. I love food. I am so full right now as I ate at the event. Only make a small amount. You gotta go to bed.
Okay.
And make sure you drink it all, and make sure you make only half a cup. All right. There, I did my dad duties. So back to.
You said duty.
I said duty. Oh yes, dad jokes. Rules. So back to some of the SolarWinds stuff. I like I said, I'll come back there. Now, what I might do is I think there's enough interest in it, and there's certainly some Zabbix has its place, and I think is a good product. There's a reason we're using it for our Linux servers. I love Zabbix for Linux servers. Zabbix actually makes a cool dashboard for pfSense. That's one of the things I want to cover when I do a video on there. pfSense out of the box has Zabbix built in, both proxy and Zabbix monitoring tools. So I'll explain what all that means for those who are familiar with the Zabbix world. But it works right out of the box. It's easy to set up. They have the TLS compiled in, so you can just drop in the TLS session and away you go. So you have the security. You can set up to monitor remotely other pfSense boxes. Easy to do, and I think we're going to start using it as an option for how we monitor some of our clients' pfSense boxes, kind of put it together. So. Yes, SolarWinds does a full backup and an incremental forever. That would be a good way to describe it. You don't ever need to set a full again. That's actually what makes it so cool. So, SolarWinds Irish HQ is down the road from us. Hey, cool. It's put off by their aggressive marketing, cold calling in our area. Any of these companies, they go through aggressive cold calling and marketing. I don't know. That's the nature of IT. Is more, I hate it, but it's very true. I've done the mind maps, and I'm going to do another one, because I did it last one almost 2 years ago for how we acquired all of our clients. I will tell you, word of mouth and calling and what they refer to as touch marketing, direct interaction with clients. That's how we acquire clients. It's still how I acquire clients. That is how I acquired another client today. That's how I acquired another client yesterday. Word of mouth. It's not some Facebook ad I sent out there. That is just not it's not how it works. But the backups on SolarWinds, you only ever have to do incremental. Because it always assembles, it's doing delta backups, and this is the company, I can't remember the name of the software they bought. SolarWinds didn't invent the product, they bought the product and retooled it. But that was the company's claim to fame, is the way they do infinite incrementals. And you can do incrementals by syncing on the deltas. It's a really clever way of doing backups. It's a math. If you're not familiar with what delta syncing is, you're only doing differential, but you're building that differential into the last backup each time. So every time, even though it's only, well, it's GFI backup, but before GFI, the name of the company eludes me. But if you look through the URLs, some of the URLs are still the same as the original company name that invented it. You can find a white paper on them. They came up with it a few years ago. It was a really innovative product, and that's why SolarWinds bought the product. So what it allows you to do is only have the deltas, and then after the deltas, you journal. So what journaling allows you to do is first you sync on the deltas, and then you go to the journals to be able to go backwards in time and have journals of, okay, this is what happened 5 days ago, 10 days ago. So you have revisioning by pulling the journals. It just takes a lot of tooling and engineering to do that, because you're doing things in a very different manner. You have to do things on a mathematical scale, because you have to look at the binary of the files and differential them to reassemble the backup. So it's an interesting way to do it. It's also one of the reasons I like ZFS, because it works in a very similar manner. And thank you very much for Morton Gonzalez sending me money as well. Thank you. I love it for clients with slow bandwidth. Thank you for your great videos. Yes. Hey, congratulations, and you're going to start your own IT company. Awesome. Nope, Hound Dog was the company that was before GFI. That's the RMM tool, was Hound Dog. Hound Dog invented the RMM tool as we have it inside of SolarWinds. The backup company was a separate company altogether that SolarWinds integrated into their platform. So there's kind of like this convergence. SolarWinds is a company that has put together some of the greatest tools by buying out some of the other companies.
$5, nice.
People sending me money. 2 people sent me 5. I got 10. Look at $10. Whoa, dude. Any integration between SolarWinds and Notion for billing? Nope, and I don't need to. I mean, I guess it would be nice, but I don't do it that way. So yeah, if you look for type SolarWinds backup in my channel history, and you'll find in my channel searching, you'll find the video I did on SolarWinds backup. I thought about doing a new one, but there hasn't been a ton. Hey, my daughter's on here. She recognized the fireplace. The reason we don't need an integration between SolarWinds and Invoice Ninja, which, by the way, wearing a shirt today. The reason I don't need integration between them is because for example, we have a flat rate per workstation that we're doing the billing for. We can look in SolarWinds and go, this client has 70 workstations. You'll go to our Invoice Ninja and see 70 workstations on their monthly recurring billing. We just remember, and it's just a process, if we add a computer to that client, because each of my techs does the billing, I have distributed billing, it's not like they have to submit something to the billing department to change it. They just change it in both at the same time. They go in SolarWinds, they add a computer, they go over to Invoice Ninja, they change the count of computer, done. It's not a complicated process, and I have this thing where I think people overthink it, and my kind of friend I have that has another IT company, he can't believe I let my techs do the billing. He has a billing person dedicated full time that just follows up with all the techs to do all the billing. I'm like, why wouldn't the techs just do the billing themselves? It kind of works out well for itself. You have them auditing the billing, they're doing the billing as they need to, and they change it on real time, so each tech does his own billing, and now my life is a lot easier. Let's see, what do we got here? I enjoy having a fireplace in the house, one upstairs, one downstairs. I live in a big ranch house for now, which does have a fireplace behind me, but we only have one, and we're all one floor ranch house. For those of you wondering, if you care. Daily cold air, yeah. My fireplace is converted to gas. I converted it, so it's boring. What kind of benefits do you
A
provide?
warm fireplace.
It is a warm fireplace. What kind of benefits do you provide for 401k, healthcare, paid vacation, sick time? Paid vacations and sick time are a yes, and healthcare currently no. None of them need it. They're all married to people who have healthcare, including myself. So we haven't. It actually somehow hasn't come up. Let's see. Yeah, you can convert to tickets into bills. That's another way to do it too in GFI. There's different methodologies you can have for doing it. It all depends on how you bill. Not everything that comes in is going to be a billable action. That is dependent on whether or not they're on our MSP plan or not. Which I am doing some videos soon on MSP plans and how we do it. And I shouldn't even say it in the plural. Pretty much we offer a MSP plan. That's it. Recommendations on the comment code? Oh, retracted. Never mind. Apparently Corey retracted whatever message he had in there. Anyways. How many kids do I have? Let's see. I have biologically 2, but it's my second wife, so it is she's got 3, and then I got grandkids. So I got the 2 that are playing video games right now, and then all the other ones are older and moved out. But those are all my stepkids. They're still my kids, and then they have kids. So then I'm actually a granddad. So I don't know. That would make it 5 kids and then 2 grandkids. I guess that's the full count of it all. Yeah, Grumpa. Let's see. Something like that. Make that 1754. Say hi to daughter for me. Yep. All right, cool. I read that one. 9 to 15 server rack. Oh, cool. Thank you, Tyler Bigley. First, the server rack, real quick, I did a review of a server rack. Go check it out. It's in my video. If you type in server rack, I think it's the only one in there. So we have that in there it's an excellent rack for a home lab. You can see it. The thumbnail is me hanging inside of it because to show you how solid it is. We're doing some home lab focus videos too. We built a thing for that. That's coming. That's actually part of what's in the photo. If you looked at the photo for today's thumbnail. Thank you for incorporating the real business aspect of what you do. Your videos always had the most useful tips. Thank you very much, Tyler, for throwing money at me and the comments. So I want to get, and maybe I'll drag them on here. I don't know. I have a handful of entrepreneur friends who are a lot of fun to hang out with because they're pretty out there. But they're people I enjoy spending time with because they like the real aspect of business. And I like what my friend Eric said. He goes, I don't know if I would wish entrepreneurship on anyone or even my worst enemy. And we've had an open discussion about that. And it's like, it's a mindset you have, but it also can be a little bit of a curse because you become very obsessive. And there's that, openness about it. Instead of just saying, oh, look, this successful businessman who employs people, there's so much more to it. And I like to cover that. I don't think of myself as anything special about it, but I don't want to sugarcoat it. I don't want to tell you that you will be, I think we celebrate it too much here, especially in America, that everyone, to be successful, the American dream is to own your own business. And I don't think that's always right for everyone. It's not the best fit for everyone. You have to have certain personality types, but I won't tell you that that's what you should do. And I've actually had some friends that went full circle that they're happier now that they don't own a business. They're like, Jesus, I'm so done with having employees and all that. They're thrilled. They work for a wonderful work environment, and they're happier not owning a business. And I always tell people, your job sucks is not a business plan. Just because you work somewhere you don't like doesn't mean you should start a business. It means you should possibly seek other employment. And if that isn't for you, maybe you should start a business. But you got to think about that process a little bit more. I don't think we should just celebrate it because everyone should own a business. It's not my belief. So, accounting software. So I use Invoice Ninja. I'll plug the shirt again. Invoice Ninja and a tool called KMy Money. I'm probably one of the only people to ever review this program. If you want to take the time to learn it, I like it. It works great for me. Anyway, I could see you in person and say hi. Our store's on Pennsylvania Road in Southgate, Michigan. You gotta message me ahead of time to make sure I'm there. I'm not there all the time. 40 years in IT, retired IT, company remotely paid. Oh my god, care, blah, blah, blah. Schmarvin, Invoice Ninja. Man, that old customer using Timberline. Tell me about accounting. Yeah.
Hot sauce.
Thanks for all the info, Tom. Your channel's been great. I don't know. All right, awesome. See, he says, you've been running yours for 5 years. Congratulations on 5 years in business. That's kind of, if you can make it, for 5 years, you're doing pretty good. You know, it's just a general business rule, not just IT, but just once you've made it for a number of years, I'm not gonna say it gets easier, but it kind of does, because you get brand recognition. If your company's doing well and you get well known, it kind of sustains itself a lot better. I love the Yucateca sauces are so good. I've had a lot of high-end, expensive hot sauces. Two of our favorite hot sauces is the El Yucateca Black and the Gator Hammock. I think I got both those linked on my Hot Sauces We Love page. And that's just, those are just ones and I've had all these great brands. I've even had the Hot Ones hot sauces and things like that, which are good. I think they're all great sauces, but our the daily driver of hot sauce for us at Lawrence Systems is the El Yucateca. We buy that stuff in bulk. We go through bottles of that stuff. So
What?
El Yucateca and Gator Hammock. You should try those, Marcus.
Hot sauces? Oh.
My son's a simple. He likes the vinegar hot sauces. Like Texas Pete is one of his favorites. So
Is my favorite.
yeah, El Yucateca is like cheap and amazing. You're right. Software used for live streaming is either OBS or the YouTube Live app on my phone, which is I'm doing right now. And the reason I'm doing it here is I didn't feel like driving back to my office, which is only like I live 3 miles from my office. That's completely by design because I'm lazy and driving doesn't do anything for me. So I just didn't feel like driving the 3 miles back to my office to do a live stream and driving back here because I'm tired and, well, I don't feel like doing that. So and see if you're going to meet now. You just have to mess with me. Like, you have to schedule times with me and email me to figure out if I'm gonna be in the office. So that's just, yeah. Video editing, I guess I'm still using Kdenlive as I'm torturing myself by my absolute dedication to open source software for no other reason to put a feather in my hat, because honestly, people would watch my videos whether or not they know I use open source software to edit them. So it's just me trying to contribute. I keep donating money to the Kdenlive project because I like to see an open source video editor, but at times it's very, very tough. The Linux Gamer did a good video on this topic about how hard it is to deal with it. Shotcut, I didn't like it. I've tried a couple other ones. I keep coming back to Kdenlive. Right now in the industry, and like the Linux Gamer, if you don't know him, check him out. He's got some neat stuff if you're into Linux, and especially if you're into Linux games. Me and him have actually talked. Like, he'll tell you the best open source software out there is Kdenlive, and it's got some shortcomings. It's great for editing for what I do. It's horrible for titling. That's my biggest hang up with it. So that's kind of a pain in the butt, but what are you gonna do? 10 years in IT, that's awesome. Communications in Mexico, that's neat.
Another $5.
I was, woohoo! I did some work with, actually, the client I worked with today was, he lives between Canada and Spain, but he's from Mexico, and we had to set up a VPN between Israel and in Canada. So it's fun because the guy has been well traveled, has a very interesting story. So DaVinci Resolve is definitely one of them. You want to say hi? Okay, I know what you're trying to type. That's my son saying hi. My son Marcus, are you into computers? He plays video games. Video games. That's as far as it goes. So no, he's not exactly in the IT.
Well.
Well, he's hoping his dad's very successful.
I do know how to open up Crush on a Chromebook.
He can open up Crush on a Chromebook. That's
Yeah.
he's getting his elite skills slowly but surely. I have familiar with DaVinci Resolve. I may switch to it at some point. I really like it, and it has way better titling. So yeah. Do you let your kids on the internet? My kids live on the internet. All right. Coding, I'm working on it. So it's a thing. Remote viewing software, Screen Connect. I'm going to do soon a new video on all the software used, which really hasn't changed much. King Ray, yeah, he's not exactly into running cable, so not his thing. It doesn't work so well for him. He doesn't have much of an interest in it. Not really his thing. But yeah, maybe I'll switch to DaVinci Resolve. I don't know. I don't know if it would help my videos any. So, hacker detection software. No easy way to know. Hosted or on premise. I do host it as much as possible. I'm sorry, on premise as much as possible. Hosted as needed. Yeah, hook them up to the belt ceiling. I'd love to see your Wazoo say that. I don't know if I want to make one Wazoo. I mean, OSEC, I'm actually using OSEC, not Wazoo, by the way. It's just, I'm not, if I make a video about something, it's because I understand it inside, outside, and yeah. So if I don't know it well enough, I don't feel as though I can teach it. And I kind of muddle my way through OSEC. Like, I get it. I just don't feel confident enough to do a video about it. Maybe I will one time. I don't know. OSEC is just, it's intense to set up. And yeah, I have tried the Alien Vault. See, they're all kind of neat. The problem is they're all expensive if you want to get into them. And knowing if you're hacked, even if you have a good SIM software like Alien Vault, not easy. You're talking about the largest companies, and we're going to throw Newegg under the bus right now. Newegg got hacked a few months ago. Newegg was hacked for a couple months. We're talking Newegg, and didn't know they had it. And trust me, Newegg has great tooling. They have a great knock. They're not amateurs at this. It's the hardest thing to know is if you've been hacked. You just don't know. And this is unfortunately how it happens with all these companies. It's not like they get caught with their pants down as often as it is. It's so hard to tell if there's someone in your network because they're so good at evading things. So there's just not an easy way to tell. It's the holy grail of it. Well, actually, the holy grail is zero trust computing. I had a great discussion with a friend who thinks solved it. I'm skeptical. I'm going to, once I understand it better, he wants me to do a demo, and I might get the engineers on my channel to talk about the what they're doing. It's a big company that does some really cool stuff. You can check them out. They're called Tempered Networks. They have some cool solutions for zero trust computing. It is a great and interesting way to handle it, but it's, yeah, Fog Project. I used to use the Fog Project. I don't anymore because we don't have a need for it. Since Windows 10, we quit imaging things, and it's not been much of a thing. But Fog's cool. I mean, it's a neat project. I used it years ago. Yeah, Sony got clobbered. Sony, at least I have some inside information. Sony was ineptitude top to bottom. They were poorly set up and poorly configured network security, and it was just, everything was a big mess. So, yeah. So I'm wrapping up my undergrad and a job lined up with an IT company. Awesome. Hey, and thanks again, Zach, for sending some money. Cool. Hey, you know what? Start young, Zach. You get into it young, and it can stick with you. You have a jump on a lot of your peers on that. So I'm wrapping up my undergrad degree this month. I have a potential lined up with an IT company. Still trying to figure out what industry I want to start in. Try it till you like. I don't know. I'm not sure what I want to be when I grow up. I'm in my 40s before I started this YouTube thing. Who knew I would like this so much? I think the concept that you'll stick with a singular career is over. It's just not how things work now. So, yeah. Networking and getting our keys to IT. That's what Tempered Networks is working on. I mean, I had a great talk with them about some of their technology. It's using standard RFC and doing signature based host keys for things. It's neat. They claim to have an easier way to deploy it. Ideally, no computer, no device should trust any other device that doesn't have a signature or key with the way their network modeling works. And it's built into the TCP/IP, but yeah, so it's yeah. Invest on training or do your own research. So I do my own research, and I say that because I have no problem spending money on training when necessary. I don't really. It's because I have a hard time with structured learning. It doesn't work for me. I am someone who didn't do anything more than drop out of high school. It didn't work for me. I haven't gone to college or anything like that. I did a whole video talking about that, and I don't advocate that you shouldn't go to college. I think some people should, some people shouldn't. Structured learning doesn't work for me, so I don't do it. I self-motivate and just read books or decide. Mostly I just go down the rabbit hole of I want to learn this. Like, I'm going to learn Zabbix. 6 hours later, I have a Zabbix server set up. I've gone through the documentation. I've got a bunch of servers configured, and then probably another 6 hours go by, and I've gone that much further into it. So I don't really do well. I've never taken training classes. I don't have any formal education. So it's not for me, but it may be for you. It may be a class on how to get to do something is what works for you. Well, if that's what works for you, go do it. I don't poo-poo on people who go to college. Some people do that and some people don't. So figure out what you can do and do what works for you. Plan on working for you. Can I apply for a job even for a live stream? I'm not hiring right now, but sure, when that point comes in life, why not? Enjoy working on hardware, but it seems more and rare. Yes. Here's the thing, unless hardware is so cheap. If you like, I've watched all the retail computer stores just tank. They're all gone because there's no money in hardware. Hardware's become a race to the bottom, low margin, swap it out. It's not where there's infrastructure is still key, building it out, but that's always one time. So you're always chasing the next job. You're not going to get recurring from infrastructure. So it becomes harder to build a business model around it. So hardware can be tricky, and it depends. If you go into enterprise, like data center hardware, well, there is some churn, so there's a constant, work there. But when it comes to other sides of hardware, computers don't break what they used to. I've been doing this since 1994. Computers used to break all the time. Computers don't break all the time now. They generally are replaced for obsolescence, not failure. So statistically, they last longer, which means there's less to do in hardware. Let's see. Protecting networks is hard. Yes, it is. Yep. There's just so many aspects. Me and Willie might do a video together about some of the data management and protection. There's a lot of things you can do, so it's really interesting. Security Onion, play with that too. Pretty neat. It's pretty cool too. I've also done, I don't know if I did a review of it or not, but you check out Parrot Security. It's kind of like a Kali Linux with more features, so definitely fun to play with. Structured cabling, definitely. I don't know what the question mark is about. Yeah, we do structured cabling. I've done videos on that. Are you seeing move cloud with backup solution or desktop as a service? Everything's moving cloud. Desktop as a service isn't going to ever really take off. That's my opinion. Tell me I'm wrong in a few years if it ever does. Desktop as a service, I don't get as much as I get moving everything cloud enabled. So we work in the transportation market a lot. Everything's cloud enabled. Matter of fact, one of the law firms, they moved from on-premise with servers, this is a big law firm, to 100% cloud billing, cloud client management, cloud. It's actually a really slick system built on Laravel called Clio Law Firm Management Software. I don't know. 100% cloud. Everyone just opens up a web browser. There's no more local tool. It's beautiful. Invoice Ninja, all cloud-based, really nice. Same thing, Laravel framework. cloud-enabled, web-enabled apps are gotten substantially better. And if you didn't follow, I was working on a video that I didn't finish. That is all about what do you call it? The new Quick protocol and HTTPS and UDP, and it's allowing the internet to build even more tooling around really fast, high availability, real-time applications running in the browser as if they're running like a desktop app, which means why would I run a desktop all the way on a server when I can run everything in the browser with just a connector and fire it up? It's a better methodology. It's more efficient. It's not, when you start talking about desktop as a service, you're talking about virtualizing a machine, there's all these hurdles involved in it versus doing it as a web-enabled app is so much easier to deliver from the client and so much easier to manage, and from a security standpoint, much easier to manage as well. Let's see. Let's see, university is a waste. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, university wasn't the thing for me. Yeah, Dell with maintenance contracts and support, we do that. We actually do that for a lot of clients. We get a Dell server with a 5-year maintenance plan, next day business done. Pen testing, yes, we have companies we work with for pen testing. We don't do it directly ourselves. We have certified hacker friends that got big companies that do that. They're very focused on it. They're certified ethical hackers. They have every certain degree. They've got a red team and a blue team, and we outsource that. It's just better. That's their focus. If someone needs to have SOC audits and things like that, we delegate that out. Lawyer client went desktop as a service. It's interesting. I mean, our law firms are moving to these cloud-enabled apps because it works well for them. Usually gigabit per second, all marketing for carriers. Why not have gigabit per second? Double speed for everyone. Hey, why not? I guess it depends on what they're doing in a cloud. So I'm saying cloud-enabled services, not desktop as a cloud, Vince. So I guess it depends on what they're doing. Some companies, still run on-prem because that's just what works for them. Other companies, if you have a lot of storage needs, you have to run on-prem. If you're a video editing company or we have a big graphic design firm, the cloud is not an option for them. They have too much data. For having asked the lab management, then move those production secure management. I'm trying to rack my head around the problem. Could you talk about that? Suggest as far as having access to lab management, then moving those. I don't understand the question. Not public. I don't understand the question. Hard times during business deals? Sure. I don't know what that means.
Release new.
I have no idea how old that is. Can you give me some water?
We're having a canned food drive, so I'm gathering our cans.
Okay.
We have expired canned goods.
Oh, well, either throw away the expired stuff and check the date on the bottom. My daughter's setting up food for a food drive thing. Yeah, software as a service, that's where everyone's going to. This whole law firm is moving to a web-enabled app that's super slick. Matter of fact, my conference call today was brokering a deal. Well, I'm doing the IT side of it. The data management from the web-enabled software that the law firm's using and the web-enabled software that this other company uses, and matching all the data so the data transports between the two software as a services, and the lawyers just have to administer the data going back and forth. It's a very involved project. It's kind of fun. I was working on it for a conference call, trying to sort out some of the details. But once again, you have two giant software as a service companies, millions of dollars transacting here, and no on-premise equipment is needed for any of it. And the lawyers are going to work either from their office or from home and can completely just log into two websites and do everything. It's actually pretty slick. Thank you, Annika. Oops. Get off 2008. Yeah. Once you get into video editing or anything like that, it's just you have to build huge servers for any of that. It is what it is. Oh, how do you move from there? I guess it all depends on what you're trying to move. I need details to be able to answer that question with intelligence. Yeah, SaaS alternative to RFMS. All for that. That software is a disaster. I hate RFMS. That stuff sucks. Yeah. When is the Proxmox video coming? I don't know. My friend said he might do one with me because he knows Proxmox. I have no interest in learning it. But self-distributed storage on Proxmox is cool. So I guess neat. I don't know. Virtual is always better than not virtual. I mean, virtualize everything. I use XCP-ng. I've been really happy with the project. It scales well. I have more videos coming out on XCP-ng. We use it for our clients, and obviously I'm a big advocate of the software, so that's why I haven't really taken the time to learn Proxmox. I got a question. Actually, backing up to VMs, is there a manual process? I'm using Veeam. You can schedule it using Zen Orchestra. The backup in Zen Orchestra is beautiful. I think I've done a video just on how the backup works. It not only has backup, you can even do like every half hour, you can do complete continuous replications, so you have your VMs hot and ready for to restore with a click of a button if the main storage server fails. It's actually really, really easy to do. Disable hardware offloading with VirtIO. Yeah, and well, if you're gonna go for performance, you want to go SRIOV. Look that up. That is the ability for network cards to pass through the hypervisor and into the guest OS, and at full speed. If you want really high-end production level speeds out of a network interface, SRIOV enabled cards. That's why they were invented, and it is supported from Proxmox. Hey, thank you, Not Public. Glad I can help. Do you code or use some coding program? I do Bash. I don't know, my wife's asking if I drink water. I swiped her away. She'll be thrilled. Anyways, do you code or use coding? I do Bash scripting. I don't really code much. I've edited PHP and Python as needed for different things. I generally don't do any of that. Yeah. Phil Ledoux, you're right. Cloud is a flawed term. It's trying to generically wrap terms as a human condition of trying to organize things. But yeah, it's hard to wrap what each of these services do because there's so many layers to it. To just generically say it's a cloud or software as a service, it's much more complicated than that. I understand. It's just trying to put it in easy terms rather than explain everything at some long level of in-depth, deep dive that becomes confusing to talk about. So, yeah, SRIOV is definitely, check it out. It's a cool feature. Definitely really neat. So I'm excited about that. If you're into it, it comes down to, are you into the really high-end stuff? A cheapest SRIOV card I've seen, I'm probably right around, there's probably a used market where you can hunt one down, but it's a newer feature, so you can buy a card for $500 or $600. Maybe there's one for a little bit less somewhere. It's kind of pricey. It's a higher end feature you get with higher end servers, but it kind of lays out on the performance of how how things are going to go. It's cool. I mean, hey, don't get me wrong. I don't have a card like this. I don't need it. Nothing we do is that high end for us. We work with high end clients all the time. We work with large companies with multiple data centers and things like that. That's some of the high end work we do. I don't need it for myself. I mean, hey, cool. I could build it, but why would I do that? How would you move a Windows VM to ESXi or Hyper-G? I have to do a video on this because this question just keeps coming up, and I made the assumption that more people knew this. You can get a P2V converter from SysInternals, and it's free download from Microsoft. Yes, free. And you can do that. There's one way you can do it. So you can convert any existing installation into a VHD file. There's one option. Another option, Clonezilla, actually works pretty good. There's a completely free option for you home labbers and everything else that just go, hey, I want to test this out. Grab Clonezilla, clone it from here, copy it to there. Where you go. VMware has a converter as well that will convert Windows. Yeah, I think it's free, but I think you have to create a VMware account to get it now. Like they don't. I looked for the download because I was gonna. I've been working on putting the notes together. I put notes together before I put the videos together, and I noticed that everything wanted me to sign up for an account. I just was lazy and didn't do it to get the download link. But I'm going to make a list of tools, and I'm going to do a video on it of that tools you can use to convert your VM from one place to another. Another one is Aomi Backupper, and that's another one that's a free utility that will do cloning with it. There's two pieces: cloning and cloning with dissimilar hardware. So those are dissimilar hardware means it's got to do a hardware reset if you move it from a physical to a virtual machine, so the hardware detection works properly. I was wondering how to move Plex, Nextcloud, XCP, Finance from a lab environment to a secure production environment using VLANs and PFSense. I don't understand the question you're asking. Just separate them if you need them more secure. So, less clear on that.
Good night, Faja.
Oh, good night. See? Oh, hey.
Oh no, my poo poo.
It's got important things.
That doesn't resemble you.
No?
It resembles down there, but no.
Let's see. Back to XCPG, have you had any success with link aggregation? I have to see if I. No, I don't think I've done any link aggregation. I have 10 gig cards in it, so I bought 10 gig cards, so I didn't need link aggregation. Part of Tom's Tomification. Hey, why not? And beware that the poo-poo. Yep. Yogurt emoji plush, right? Yeah, probably. I don't know where these came from. I bought them on the internet. I had them for a while. I've got a bunch of them. I don't know why. 10 gig. I have a 10 gig card video that tells you what card. They're the Chelsea IO cards in the model N320. Look for my 10 gig video. You'll find it. It's in there. I talk about what cards to get and where to get them. Unify makes a great 10 gig budget switch. So I definitely like that. If you're having trouble with the link aggregation, go over to the forums, the XCP-NG forums. There's some really smart people in there that are very helpful. Hey, hi from Arizona. It's much warmer there than it is here, I'm sure. Hey, awesome, Scott. Glad I can help and inspire. It's a question of management, access to the VLAN, VPN, SSL. Joe formulating the question. Yeah, I want to answer the question because I don't understand the question. Like, keep them separate? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll work on a video of why you should separate things and why you don't need to separate other things, because I know that's sometimes a point of confusion. We've had clients with all kinds of different setups. A lot of it was pre-existing. You know, Infoband and a few others are unique, and I don't see them very often. Yeah, it was cold in Michigan. Warm in Arizona, cold in Michigan. Can you talk about Wikimedia? I don't know. I have a whole video I talk about Wikimedia. I don't know that you watched my video on Wikimedia. VLANs are secure. The risk is if there's any VLAN hopping that could potentially occur. It's not likely. A good switch with good security protocols will stop VLAN hopping, so it will physically be on the same wire but logically separated. So it's It offers a risk because there's a potential, because VLANs are a software defined networking feature. So if someone has access to the root level software that's controlling the software defined networking, they would be able to reroute themselves around your VLANs, versus if you did a physically separate network switch that's physical, they would have to physically change it to get on another network. So that's the concept behind there, but you're kind of splitting hairs at that point. VLANs are quite secure. Yeah, the Space Invader 1 guy does have some cool videos. He's really big and he's done a lot of videos on Unraid. So if you have any Unraid questions, he's definitely got a bunch of great videos in there. SSH plus dual and UFW rules about a unified switch. Awesome. I don't know how good those TP-Link switch. I reviewed that one, and I pointed out the fact that the management of it can only be done via HTTP, which is obviously it passes all the data in clear text. It doesn't have an SSL cert. So I was like, hey, it's cool. It works. It's great for learning. It's probably not great for corporate. I got my phone plugged into a brick. It's still charged all the way after all this, and my phone's charged. Going for an hour now on my ear. Oh, let's see. What else do we got here? Yeah, I'm not sure what your wiki question was, but I did a whole video on it. Opinion on Netgate appliances like the SG5100. I'm really happy with the Netgate appliances. They've been great. The SG3100, we've sold a ton of those because it's a great solution. It's very reasonably priced. And it routes really, really fast. So we really haven't had a problem. NFS 4.1 for FreeNAS yet? I know it's on their roadmap, but I don't know where. I know they have new versions of NFS. I don't know if it's going to get into the 11.2 or not. It's on. They have a roadmap of where they're going and when it's theirs. Yeah, TP-Link is. They make some decent, not really enterprise grade, but for learning, they're great values, especially if you want to learn how some of that works. We don't purchase support. That's because we know these systems inside out and upside down. That's why I've made so many videos, and I have more videos to make on pfSense. I just got to find time to make them all, because I want to do some policy routing videos. So I won't lie, I've never bought support from them because I don't need it. I buy my gold membership when they had that. I don't know if they have it anymore. I've always paid it because I want to support the project. But I know the pfSense really well. I've never had an issue that I wasn't able to solve. Closest I came to having a pfSense issue I couldn't resolve was setting up an IPsec VPN between pfSense and a FortiGate, and I was losing my mind on it, and it turns out the problem was with the FortiGate, not the pfSense. The customer had to give FortiGate money to get an update. We got the updated firmware on the FortiGate, rebooted the FortiGate, and the pfSense started working. That was it. So there's my pfSense. Tom almost couldn't figure it out story. I'm not trying to brag, but when you've been using a product for so long, and I do all kinds of advanced stuff with it, and I'm obsessively reading about it and spending time in forums, you get good at the product, and I haven't had to buy support. I'm going to review that Asus 10 gig card soon. I'm really happy with it. I've had no problems at all with it. It's been boringly working, which is good because it's running my computer, so I like it working. Yes, I do build my own hardware. Matter of fact, our pfSense box at the office still runs on custom hardware. There's always people who think pfSense is going to kerfluffle and move to paid. It's open source. It ain't going anywhere. I'm not worried about it. The one guy, what is his name? Gonzo Pacho is kind of off the wall. He rants, whatever. I don't know. He gets mad every time someone doesn't buy his hardware and loads it or something. I'm never clear on that, and I don't try to follow drama. I have better things to do. Yes, 6 days till the FreeNAS release. That's awesome. I have not tested. I'm waiting on because encryption is such a big deal, I'm waiting to do the videos until after the final release. Then I'm going to talk about how to set up FreeNAS with Backblaze with encryption. Definitely working on that. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I don't worry about. I'm using continuous backup. I keep my data um, in more than across two FreeNAS servers and across local storage. So because I'm synchronizing the data, I don't worry about having distributed storage. And if I did, I would just buy something like a TrueNAS with multipathing. Um, IO for like iSCSI for redundancy. So you can build redundancy without having Ceph storage. You can do it over NFS. You can do it with iSCSI. iSCSI multipath with a really high-end distributed storage solution works. So it's not like you have to have Ceph to have that redundancy. But I don't worry about it myself in our office. I mean, we're a tech company, so I'm worried about it less. For my clients, yeah, we'll sell them a nice TrueNAS server or a giant Storinator and set it all up and make it awesome. But that's for companies that need that absolutely no downtime with no exception and have a budget that allows it too. You can run it. The only problem yes, I do have offsite backup. I've talked about my disaster recovery plan. I'll do a new video on that soon. We have not just an offsite backup, we ourselves have our own disaster recovery plans. Running pfSense virtualized, no, it works great. So I no issues. It works fine virtualized, but in capacity planning is an issue if you're trying to run it in a production environment. So there's not really a security provider you set it up right, any more or less of a security concern. It's just do you have a server that is capable of handling the speed? OpenSense, because it's easier to use and hook up directly to the WAN with my ISP. It's more user friendly in pfSense. Defaults for basic use. OpenSense is fine. I don't know anything bad about it. I just haven't had a use case for it. So. Hey, Brett Chittum's on here. Hi, Brett Chittum. Thanks for the beer, Brett. Let's see. Do you know about a bunch of command line Linux, or what do you do more securely focused? You said you outsource. I do know. I'm a big Linux guy, so I'm very good on the command line with Linux, if that's the question. I set up all my own servers and everything else. I've been a Linux sysadmin now since 1998. I was an AIX admin back then, so I am 20 years experience being a Linux command line guy, so I'm very comfortable with the command line with Linux. So what do we got here? I ran PS Virtues until it failed to start. My entire network went down and moved to bare metal. That's why we run it on bare metal. I like it to be separate. Well, here's an example. If I were to have a problem and have to restart any of my XCP-NG stuff, I wouldn't have internet. Matter of fact, when you have a problem with something, what do? You're on Stack Exchange, you're on Google. So if your virtualization server is also the server that's having a problem and is also the server that provides your internet, you have a much bigger problem. So having a inexpensive piece of hardware, because it's not that expensive to run things like that, that runs it means I don't have a problem. So that's how I do it. So have you ever been an outsourced IT company to another company that has a smaller IT department? All the time. That's actually a lot of our businesses having other IT companies contact us for projects that are specialized. So no, you can't really outsource your Outlook and end user support, but we do have companies that outsource their infrastructure planning and deployments to us. So we've helped migrate servers. We've done those projects at internal IT companies. They may not be able to do, or even external IT companies that contract us. Because we do a lot of infrastructure, we have local IT companies that contract us to do infrastructure for them on their behalf. Yeah, PC engines, APU, low power. Yeah, that's kind of, I've seen those. I haven't really played with them. Yeah, you're Jeff Chan, you're doing it right. So if you have a cluster with ESXi and failover on CARP, well, then you don't have to worry about if you're running a virtualized. That's fine. that's kind of a solution to that problem as well. There's solutions when you scale them. It kind of comes down to budget. If you have the budget to set those things up, they're really nice when you get them set up. You just got to have a few servers to be able to do all that. Yeah, it's still nice to have if you are having a pfSense problem, because the update, for example, from 2.4. The 2.4 update didn't go well. I did a video about that specifically, what you were supposed to do because of a mistake that was made on a PHP compatibility. But the good news is pfSense is easy to reload. So anytime I do any major upgrades, if you're not running official hardware especially, I always make sure before I do the upgrade, I have a downloaded of the latest copy of pfSense burned onto a flash drive. That way, if it does break, I right away can recover it with the flash drive. Just a planning thing. Yeah, the 244 video, because that was kind of a mess. So I run a single owner IT place, finally about to start providing hardware as a service, mostly desktops and hopefully servers. 2 options, refurb new, both experience advice for an old noob. We don't really get into the hardware as a service. I've thought about it. I don't know. I just keep our MSP stuff really, really simple. So yeah, snapshots are great for unknown upgrades. So I don't have a ton of advice on that because it's not my niche. We really don't do as much as a hardware as a service. We generally sell hardware and just sell it. I haven't really gotten into the recurring on there. In the market we're in, doesn't seem to have a demand for it. Let's see. pfSense console, yeah. Awesome. What else we want to talk about tonight? There's all kinds of questions. No, I don't run Squid. Squid's stupid. I have a video of why you shouldn't run Squid. Internet filtering is something everybody wants, but it's just becoming harder and harder to do. pfSense, we do OpenVPN for most sites. That works perfectly fine. Always back up before you do any update. That's just a general rule. I don't care who you are or what firewall you're using. What firewall do you see in your market the most? I don't use a caching server, so that's why I don't run Squid. I guess there's a need for a caching server. I was emailing back and forth to the guy who lives in a very rural area of Africa, and they have very limited bandwidth, so they need a caching server. Most everywhere else, I'm not trying to disparage those areas. We just don't need those things because we have fast internet. So I don't really have any insight into that. We see all the firewalls though. Everything. I see a lot of FortiGates. I see a lot of Meraki's, Cisco's. Just there's such a variety of firewalls that I don't know that there's one I see substantially over another. I will say I do see a lot of FortiNets. They seem to be all over the place. And Sonic walls. Tons of those old Sonic walls, not new ones, but old ones, because of the way their reseller program works. So, yeah. Yes, so HTTP running UDP now. More specifically, you're going to be talking about the QUIC protocol. I recorded a video this morning on it that I didn't have a chance to upload because I didn't finish it. So yes, I was actually working on a video on that because I've been following it for a while because it directly relates to doing internet filtering, and QUIC, if you don't know, breaks internet filtering. So there's all kinds of problems related to that. WatchGuards, thankfully, are disappearing. I've hated that company for a long time. They're a headache. Yeah, SonicWall was one of those companies that the history of SonicWall is they came up with a really good reseller program, so they have great commissions, so all these companies started jumping in it. And my understanding, and I was never a SonicWall reseller, was SonicWall would give you commission on the sales, and then SonicWall would get all your client information, and then they went around you for the renewals and cut you out of it, and it burned a lot of people, and they got mad about it. So that's my understanding of the history of them. So we are a hybrid place. We both do break fix and MSP, so all your general IT stuff. And go to our website. You can see all the stuff we do: cabling, infrastructure, camera systems. We're going to be launching a phone program, so that's going to be in there too. We use DNS filtering via PF Blocker. That's what we do at the edge, and then we use the SolarWinds tool for the individual endpoint filtering. Sonic walls are just aggravating. I just don't like the interface or anything. I ran some Sonic Wall 250Ms at some sites. Had that experience, replaced them because they were crappy to deal with. They're a headache. You can, the WatchGuard boxes, the older ones, there's not only will they run pfSense, I think there's still some plugins supported that let you use the display on the front of the WatchGuard for pfSense notices. So yeah, there's a lot of them that have been repurposed for that. I've been in business for 15 years. I started in 2003, September of 2003 to be exact, if that matters. So I've been doing this a long time. I've owned, in between, but related to, I've owned other businesses related to, I had a TV repair and electronics repair. We did high-end audio equipment and television repair and other general electronics repair. Zyxel, they're okay. I have a client, per their cloud provider, required them to use it. We use the SolarWinds for endpoint filtering. We do not use Squid. It's a headache and it doesn't work well. Checkpoint are popular in the large enterprise environments, so Checkpoint's kind of neat. But yeah, for filtering, people keep asking about filtering. There's no silver bullet for it. You have to install certificates on people's computer if you want to filter. No way around it. That's the way it works. And then when you do that, you get companies like IBM who have auditing tools that do things for banks, and then you find out you can't have a certificate in that computer because it'll break it, and then you can't do it. So, what is Flipside Creation? I was always curious the origin of that name. That is a long time name I've had since the 90s because flipsidecreations.com was a just a domain I had for some of my creative endeavors. Besides doing IT work, I was a professional wedding photographer for a number of years too. I do a lot of creative, that type of photography and artwork, and Flipside Creations was my artwork site for a long time. Dig up on Wayback When Machine, maybe there's some version of it you can find. If you want to start network support managed services, get really good at things, make sure you have a solid service offering, and get out there and meet clients, which is the hardest part of that job. Let's see, I had so much trouble with the little documentation for XVG, had to rage quit. Main issue was improving OVA file. Oh, importing? I don't know, I've imported them, it seems to work, so I guess I don't know what's not working for that. Hey, good night, Brett. I will see you. We'll do some business videos coming up. Yeah, meet clients. That's the rough part of this. That's why I'm doing this from home now. I was at a Chamber of Commerce event and meeting people and talking to people, and it's the nice thing is your company's been around for a while. You get more word of mouth and clients referrals and things like that. But yeah. Starbucks blocking porn. Oh, that's disappointing. I thought that's why people went to Starbucks. They can try. Seems like your chamber has better leads. That happens. Some chambers are good. My chamber was bad. My chamber was good. Then my chamber was bad, and now my chamber is good again. Leadership changes and things like that. Yeah, they don't go there for the coffee. The problem is if you get in IT to get away from people, that's fine. That means you're probably not going to be a business owner unless you can hire a sales rep to get you customers. So that's, yeah. It is what it is. There's when you sometimes you have a lot of IT companies in there. I've got staying power because we've been in the chamber for since 2006, so 12 years in the chamber. 2005, 13 years in the chamber. So sweet. Glad I helped you get some XCP NG loaded on those things. That's awesome. Kids don't want the Happy Meal toys, no. Cheap Goodwill. You know, it's kind of fun playing with some of the other hardware, but yeah. Whiskey. Rye whiskeys are always happy times. Hosting your own Unify on Ubuntu, yes. That I do it on Debian Linux, but Ubuntu is fine too. Yeah, once you like Vince, and like you said, once you've been established for a while doing this, you just kind of get a lot of calls and stuff, and you figure out ways you can monetize it, and it works really well. So we, like I said, we get all kinds of jobs that come up. We've been getting all these wiring cleanup jobs, and we're charging a lot for them, but they're just come in there and clean up wiring rooms because other IT companies left it a mess. So, hey, why not? And actually, to go a step further, we're now seeing there's an MSP that seems to be flopping and flailing out there and not servicing clients, so we're targeting all their clients and picking them all up one after another. And this is a perfect example. The dental office that we picked up, so they had to call their IT company about the previous IT guy to get some passwords that weren't given to us for the backups. So we started the process. It took them. We had the server reloaded and got all of our work done around them. The IT company followed up with a phone call 24 hours later about a server down. That's how bad they are about following up. Teespring. So the reason we use Teespring is because it integrates into YouTube. They're nice. They're a little weird, but they're the only company that integrates into YouTube. Flat out. Some handshaking was done. Teespring is why we show up. So if you want to buy some LTS swag, that's the kind of like the preferred company for YouTube. Setting up a third-party company is more work for us, and I have enough stuff to do, so we haven't really spent a lot of time on that. So we just use Teespring because it's really easy to do. Yeah, CableGore has 10,000 subs for sure. How about using consumer SSDs and old servers? Yeah, they should be fine. Backup, backup, backup. That's the most important part. Yeah, Vultr and DigitalOcean were good for hosting. We do get a lot of work. We do a lot of work from YouTube. That's been our biggest growth this year in 2018. I'm gonna do some end of the year recap stuff, but yeah. So that's something there. I keep it because so many people know us by that name. My YouTube, thanks Google, is meshed with my business account for my Google page for my company. So I can't remove it here, or I'll break it for my business page where people look for my company. My YouTube channel is directly tied to it. I don't know how, Google merged them, and other than restarting my YouTube channel, there's not a way to separate them. So if I remove the PC pickup part, it disappears from the search results for people who know me as PC pickup. Which I might change it soon because the retail has been down. We hardly do any retail. It's just the market has shifted dramatically, and we don't really see the consumers coming in anymore. Well, maybe that's a 2019 thing. Maybe I'll drop the PC pickup altogether. Let's see. What your Windows Linux ratio support and deployment? Is it mostly Windows Server or Debian? For us, everything's Debian servers that we do support for, but for most of our client base, it's Windows. We have Windows people. we don't have a lot of customer base that we're doing Linux for, like in Zero on our MSP. For our MSP, I can't see Zero. There's a couple of them, but for the most part, all the local companies we support are all Windows servers. That's what we do. Yeah, don't forget to test your backup. Hey, an untested backup is just wishful thinking. When was it they forced everyone to merge YouTube account with G+? I don't remember. That's when it all happened. It was a mess. That's how they did it. In my personal, I've seen the other part of the question, not public, is Debian is my preferred. I'm not a big RHEL person. I just don't know it as well. So, do you charge for patch management? Well, of course I do. I get charged for it, so I pass that around. So, yeah, Windows is what it is. Windows just generates problems. We had a broken domain trust for no apparent reason. We had to reset a domain server and rejoin 5 out of 10 computers for reasons unknown. An update somehow broke the domain trust between a bunch of computers. We can't find a reason why. We know how to fix it. We don't know what caused it. We don't know if it'll happen again. Thanks for automatic billable hours. Linux desktop will come to ADDS with group policy, etc. Active Directory just works well and doesn't work sometimes. There's not the same equivalency in the Linux world for Active Directory. LDAP just doesn't really. You do security, it's modeled differently in Linux, so there's not like direct market equivalents that you can just see. We're just going to switch to this. It doesn't work the same way as that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a Linux guy. I run Linux on my desktop. We at our office run Linux on our desktops. So we run Windows and virtual machines as needed. We're generally a Linux-based house internally, and then we support Windows customers. Yeah, it's the thing. It's so much the Linux. You can't. There's not like these direct equivalencies between Linux and Windows for the way you do integration. It's just, they're very different platforms. So it's very different. You can't just, they're not an apples to apples comparison at all. The security modeling and the structure modeling, especially when you start looking at things at scale, and the reason the internet works at scale as it does is because of the way Linux offers things at such different tool sets with Kubernetes and everything else. So it's when you start doing things with Ansible and thousands of servers and the way you do things at Linux, there's no equivalency of that in the Windows world. You can't script Windows servers to do that the same way you can with Linux servers. So there's so many differences in the way the markets work. Let's see. Roku speakers 23rd hadn't shipped yet. Yeah, that's always a pain. We're team awesome. Hey, I like to think so. Windows 10 is what it is. I think Microsoft didn't realize the market's shifting. Eventually, people won't care as much about desktops. They just need access to different web-enabled services. So, I don't know that there's Ansible in the same methodology, and it certainly is not going to be the same. There's probably like a bolt-on where you can run some stuff in there, but it's not the same as the diversity you get on being able to run Ansible on Linux. It's just not going to be the same thing. People do care about crappy updates where they break stuff. Yeah. Open vSwitch blew my mind even more than Kubernetes. It's yeah. That's all fun stuff too. My pricing for the system, I don't know if I'm going to have all the pricing in there. The problem is if I say a price, we negotiate price with clients based on a few factors. I'm going to do some MSP videos on there, but we roll everything into one flat price for it. So, yeah. PFSense if they need features, edge routers if they don't. That's a common question. I'm going to be doing a direct comparison of why we use what firewalls we use. I have only 2 Windows machines for gaming, Plex server hooked up to my TV. I do have a Windows gaming machine. My daughter's on it right now playing video games and complaining about the new Fallout game because apparently it's buggy. Right, Annika?
It's horrible.
Yes, she is upset. She's learning adult things like working hard, buying a game, and then the game sucks, and then you're really angry because you spent money on it. So, but we roll all the MSP stuff into like a flat rate price per machine. We do per workstation pricing for most of our clients. Someone asked, well, can't you do per user pricing? We could, but it would be the same because pretty much every client we have has a 1-to-1 ratio with computers and people. So charging per person or charging per computer would not change the billing of the customer. Yeah, viral videos of Fallout games on YouTube. Yes, I've heard the grumblings from my daughter, so she's very unhappy about the Fallout games. Back up. QNAP versus Synology, which one to use? FreeNAS. I would use FreeNAS in a QNAP versus Synology scenario. Yeah, you can use a Chromebook to manage a lot of companies do. I know companies that make a lot of money that just run it on Chromebooks because they don't need it. Unraid's not open source, and Unraid doesn't use ZFS, so FreeNAS wins again. Unraid's nice. I don't think it's a bad product, but one of those why would I use something that like FreeNAS does everything I want to do? Unraid does have some cool pass-through features and blah, 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 but it's not for me. And I've thought about doing some reviews. Synology has reached out to me, and they want me to do some reviews of their products. I think they make a nice product. I may do some reviews on it. We've got clients with them, and they're working fine, so they don't have a reason. I don't really have any dislike for them. XCPNG, cool. 45 drivers will ever hook you up with those huge servers? Oh yes, that would be wonderful if they would. I think I tagged them in a tweet more than once. I'm like, hey, I'd love to review them. The problem is they're selling so well, they don't have a reason to give me one. I'll keep bugging them. I'll keep asking, but yeah, I don't think so. Trust me, if anyone knows or has a contact there, hey, send them over if they would like me to review one. So yeah. Synology with cardboard cutouts. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Unraid works. I see a lot of people like it. A guy has a channel called Bite My Bits. He does a bunch of Unraid videos, and so does Space Invader 1 has a bunch of Unraid videos. It seems like a nice product. I just don't use it. Linus likes it. Linus Tech Tips. So the Speed Vault on SolarWinds, what we do so we just landed a new small accounting firm with a 4-person office. We don't give them a NAS for the Speed Vault. We just set up with a USB drive and it's good. So that's cool. That works for that. We have a larger client with a bunch of VMs and a bunch of stuff that needs a NAS. So we have a NAS that has several terabytes of storage rated just to store all their backups locally. So it really kind of depends. We don't sell a single solution. We sell a NAS backup solution tied to their network when they have something enterprise because they have so much more to back up. We have a single USB hard drive sitting on top of a server for a small 4-person accounting office because That's what that client needs. Could we sell them an entire new server? Sure, but I don't think their budget fits that. If it did, cool. I'll sell them as much as they want, but rationally speaking, they actually don't have that much data either. They've got like 10 gigs worth of data. I can download that pretty quick. So they have a local copy on a single drive, and we can download it pretty quick because they don't have that much data. They just do CPA accounting and not that much data, so one drive. So you kind of scale it to the client, because we have a 4-person accounting office and a 300-person transportation client with a big database server and everything else. Well, they have different needs, so we sell them what fits that need. We don't have one solution for all. Synology for client, on-site backups, they send it to Backblaze B2. I want trial FreeNAS backups. Last time, back it up. Yeah. Huh? I haven't had a problem doing the testing with it. The only thing I got to do testing with is the production version of the encryption for the backup. I've tested it. It seems to work, but I'm waiting for it to be official before I make a video on it and make sure it's feature complete, feature stable before I make the videos. So expect all kinds of FreeNAS videos in December and January of 2019. Coming soon to you. I'm trying to figure out when we're going to review it, but the folks over at TrueNAS, the FreeNAS people, reached out to me, and I might be doing another storage review of one of their new all-flash arrays. So I'm waiting for them to get back with me when they can get that to me for a review. That's kind of cool. Yeah, you can back them up all to FreeNAS and eCloud, sync it to Backblaze. It's an easy solution. It works really well. Encrypted Backblaze, yes, definitely coming. Yeah, I'm gonna finish that. I got so swamped today doing stuff. Would you guys be interested at all in a day in the life of what I actually do? I don't know. Maybe it's interesting. Maybe I'll make a video. This is what Tom does all day. And not like I'm not going to try and Casey Neistat it. Like, I'm going to actually show you step by step. This is what I do. Oh, I'm not going to time lapse me. I'm not that exciting to watch. But I'll just walk you through the functions I do, the customers, and how my interactions, and kind of what I actually do in my schedule. I'll break it down for you of how I do things. So we'll go from that. What software do you use to back up machines for FreeNAS? That's a loaded question. All kinds of stuff. I use SyncThing. I use rsync. I use whatever is the solution as needed. So, yes, definitely leave it outside the bedroom. No one wants to see that. A whole 16 gig of RAM to a VM with crash plan. Okay. Here's me blowing my nose. No, I'm not like that. Totally watched interest. Veeam or Datto, both are good. Time lapse 24 hours and 10 seconds. It would be not much to watch. Just kidding. Yeah. So, and this is what interferes. Like give you a rundown of what my day. I wake up every morning around 4:30 or 5. I make coffee. I do all my reading in the morning. Then I check all my backups, make sure they all went. Just, I run through the checklist of servers and da-da-da-da-da. And then I get to the work. Between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. I'm at my office, and then I make videos, and then at 9 a.m. I deal with customers and randomly do whatever it is I do for the rest of the day, which I'll actually have to write down. Make sure everyone's doing their job. That's actually something I do. I try to make sure everyone's doing things and not screwing around. They pretty much do things and not screw around, but yeah. Love to see my motorcycle. It is really too cold. I'm not going outside for that. I did them in another video. They're in the garage, and it's cold in the garage. Drinking coffee is a job. It is. It's important. Which brand should I use? For what? Which hard drives? You're up north. I'm used to the cold, but yeah. I just don't go out in it. I have some clients running VMware. It works. Nothing wrong with it. We do some support for a couple companies that are using it. I'm okay with it. Steve is better at it than me, but I'm able to work my way through it. If I stare at it, I'll remember where a menu is for something. It takes me a second, but I'll find all the menus and I know how it works. Yeah. Crash Plan. Yeah, I haven't used them in a long time since they made all the changes. 15 terabyte can data are you backing up? A lot. Even our system, we have a RAID. My primary system is a RAID Z2, 18 terabytes of storage, or no, 16 terabytes of usable that we have at ours. A lot of it's my videos, and then we have our VMs and everything else that we back up. Cheating with backups, huh? Problems, it reports back to me in Pages, otherwise it just works. The scripts I use, I still verify everything as I check them all. I know it reports to me when there's a failure, but I just feel good to check them. VM's a lot less compressed. Yeah, if you compress the VMs, they actually compress down really well. So that's a nice feature of them. Yes, VFS stores things so efficiently. So it's outstanding. Yeah, FreeNAS doesn't like if a replication fails, but I did a video on FreeNAS replication. I need to do one maybe on rsync. It's just good to have lots of copies of your data. The latest Windows update, hasn't we all had problems with it? The nice thing is we use SolarWinds RMM, and we can slow down updates as needed. So we use the SolarWinds system. We can, when we realize there's a problem, we just pause that update until the problem is sorted out. So those are some of the advantages that's really easy to do in SolarWinds to be able to do that. So yeah, that's Windows updates are always a crapshoot of mess. Holy crap, I've been going for almost 2 hours. Almost out of water. Good news is 2 hours later the ibuprofen's working, so my head doesn't hurt as much. What is Windows? Like that trigger when you start, yeah. It's one of those things that we do Windows support. It's the nature of what we do. What are you gonna do? You got to keep only one copy of those data on USB drives. Yep. Yeah, Azure's fine. I have my own Azure account and things like that. I've thought about doing videos on it, but I don't know. No, we manually set up Windows for the most part. In July of 2017. Oh, that's always fun. That's always a mess when you're dealing with, you take on a client and everything's out of date, because the first thing they want to blame you for is breaking everything. Hey, all of it worked with the last IT guy. Well, no, they didn't update anything. So, more and more people are using Chromebooks. When it comes to this is why the consumer market's dying. Microsoft has created a horrific consumer experience and is pushing people to using just phones, using tablets, using Chromebooks, and moving away from Windows. It's changed the consumer market greatly. People just don't do that anymore because it's too much, of a pain. So what are you gonna do? Yeah, imaging Windows 10. Yeah, if you want to settle that up, it's just not really worth it. So. How do you archive old data away? Example, 7-year-old data. Where do you back it up to? I keep my data spinning all the time. So that's one of those things. Like, I always keep all my data spinning. I never archive it on anything because I don't trust it to not die. And because of the way data storage has scaled, what I used to think was a lot of data is now a tiny sliver. So my photos that go back all the way to 1995 with my first digital camera, that is still on my FreeNAS as part of my backup. So yeah, it's just kind of interesting that I keep it all moving. It's just better. And because FreeNAS can really, it also supports things like stopping bit rot from happening. So because there's a lack of bit rot with your FreeNAS, keeping your data moving means it's always good. It's always checking the drives. So you never have to worry about, is my data really there? If you have it just sitting idle somewhere, you do have to worry about, will I be able to retrieve that data? If I spin up this hard drive that I turned off 5 years ago, will it turn on? Will it die? Yeah. I wish you'd get rid of the Windows Store. The Windows Store is a mess. Azure's where Microsoft is putting all their innovation, so they're far from a dead company. They're doing very, very well, and Azure's where they're moving everything to. So that they realize they're not stupid. They realize that's the future. They will keep supporting and putting Windows out there as long as there's people buying it, and because legacy applications take forever to go away, it'll be a number of years before we ever see Windows die. The market takes a long, long time to shift. AWS Glacier for archive or cold storage, it's good as long you're just trusting that Amazon will always have it. I don't think that's a bad thing. They seem to be pretty trustworthy stewards of data, so use them. I mean, it's just one of those things, like, if you care about having it all in your possession, and I kind of do, because I know where it is. I tangibly have it in 2 locations, my office and my house, and a third location that I won't say where it is. That's, good ways to have it. So but Glacier has generally good. Domain control in a cloud, look at Azure AD. So you can run your domain control in a cloud via Azure AD. If you look it up, there's some good information on it. There's a whole system you can set it up. So you can have all the computers without a local domain server, but you get all the features of a domain server through Azure AD. That's actually going to be a service I think we're going to see a lot more of very soon. No, Azure AD is not, but it's kind of that in between. So you can give some of those controls, but you can run a full domain controller in Azure as well. Microsoft's also coming out with, I'm trying to remember the name of it. What is it called? Windows 10 Advanced. It's part of your Office 365 integration to give more control via the systems, so you can control it through the Office dashboard and have local control over the computers and policy management on them. There's a few things that Microsoft is doing, and actually I know less about them because my staff knows them better. They do the implementations. I don't like it. It's not my focus, so that's why I don't do videos on it, because I am not an expert on it. And this is where you ever worked, you try to figure out how you work for a guy that doesn't know things. Sometimes my staff is like that. They're like, how do we work for a guy that just tells us to deploy things he doesn't know very well? That's sometimes owning a business. I do have my limits, and most of those limits my interest level in learning some of the Azure stuff is minimal. My staff takes care of it, and I'm fine with that. So is Active Directory here? Sure. I know you've been using Debian for 20 years. Is there RTFM that is your go-to? You have an issue? Yeah, Google. Google has made it way easier for everything. So Google is, I go over, you search, you find it and you land on Stack Exchange most of the time. So it's, yeah, that just works. Red Forest or Bastion Forest? What is that? Yeah, Stack Exchange. You end up, when you Google it, you end up on there. Red Forest. What are we referring to? Okay, now I know what you're talking about. Yes, there's a whole planning a bastion and forest environment. I can actually drop the link in there, so for those of you wondering what's... Yeah, boy, you spend a lot of time Googling. My SIP provider is, what's the name of that company? Hold on, I'll have to look it up because I gotta look at my login for it. The name is eluding me, I'm tired. Vitality. So we've been using them for a while, they work good. I don't know anywhere that offers discount hardware for nonprofits. Yeah, you don't need to know the answers, you need to know where to look. I haven't needed any support, so I can't answer that question if they're good or bad. We use FreePBX. I'm happier with the Sangoma line of FreePBX. It works great. I haven't had any problems with it. I actually know a lot of people using it at scale, not just Chris, but I have some local friends that are really good at it, and they use it to manage quite a few systems. We have a handful of clients using it. It's been a really solid system. Well, I think I might wrap this up here. It's been 2 hours, so I guess at some point it's time to take a break. I'm tired. If you can't tell, I'm getting exhausted, and I drank 2 glasses of water, so now I gotta go pee. So I'm just gonna. It seems like a good way to end the live stream here. So, all right, well, have fun. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks everyone who threw money at me. I always appreciate it. More videos coming. I will be doing that quick video too, hopefully tomorrow morning. So there's a ton of SIP providers out there. But I'll do that quick video because I want to finish it because I have a lot of thoughts on Quick and I really like it. So yeah, definitely important protocol for doing all this stuff. And I'm always open to suggestions. So your suggestions help with all this feedback about, how we should do things and everything else. So, all right, have fun. Good night and goodbye all.